So here are 12 things about the Galaxy S26 Ultra that almost nobody seems to be talking about. So before we get into it, quick reminder, if you use my purchase link to pre-order the S26 Ultra, you get an extra $30 credit on top of this offer. That link is down below in the description if you are interested. All right, first, the Galaxy S26 lineup supports satellite communication, not just in the US, but in other major global markets too, like Europe, Japan, and of course, North America. Second, and this one genuinely caught me off guard, I was watching Mr. Who's the Boss's battery test, and the S26 Ultra performed significantly better than the S25 Ultra. Same 5,000 mAh battery, same official battery life claims from Samsung, but in real-world testing, the S26 Ultra just lasted longer. Even more interesting, it stayed significantly cooler throughout the entire test. And no, that's not because of the aluminum frame. That's largely down to the larger vapor chamber doing its job properly. Thermal management clearly improved here. What really surprised me, though, is that this 5,000 mAh battery managed to outperform phones with larger silicone carbon batteries, including Xiaomi's 6,000 mAh flagship. It even beat the iPhone 17 Pro Max in that test. Now, to be clear, this was the physical SIM version. The eSIM version has a slightly larger battery, so the gap could narrow there, but still, the level of optimization Samsung pulled off here is impressive. I genuinely wasn't expecting that. Now, about the S Pen, this is likely the big reason Samsung didn't build magnets directly into the phone. Josh demonstrated that when you use a magnetic case and then attach a magnetic charger, the S Pen starts acting up around that magnetic field. That's because strong magnets interfere with the S Pen's EMR technology. A standard magnetic case on its own generally isn't the issue. Problem shows up when you stack magnetic accessories together. Samsung said they are working on improving the S Pen tech so magnets can eventually be integrated without interference, but that solution isn't here yet. Next up, the privacy display feature. It looks like you can assign it to the side button, which makes it far more usable day to day. You'll probably need to use good luck to configure it properly, but once set up, it's much more convenient. Now, I've seen a lot of people criticizing this feature because enabling privacy display slightly reduces resolution and brightness. And yes, that's technically true, and Samsung even explained it why. The feature works by literally turning off pixels to limit viewing angles. That's how it prevents people next to you from seeing your screen. So in my view, this isn't something you'll leave on permanently. Use it in crowded environments like public transport, cafes, airports, wherever screen matters, or enable it only for specific apps like banking apps. Also, notifications, pins, and passwords automatically get hidden, so basically just don't leave it on all the time if you care about squeezing every bit of quality from that display. Next, if you wear polarized sunglasses, you know that previous Samsung displays could become nearly invisible. Samsung finally addressed that on the S26 Ultra. It's likely because the panel no longer uses the same polarizer layer design, but the regular S26 and S26 Plus still don't get this improvement. Speaking of the panel, Samsung slightly modified the anti-reflective coating to make the privacy display possible. As a result, the screen is a bit more reflective when it's off. It's noticeable under certain lighting conditions, but when the display is on and you're viewing actual content, especially if it's not completely black, the difference is still there, but it's very minimal. There were also claims that the bezels are thicker this year. That's not accurate. Side-by-side comparisons show the bezel size is essentially the same as the S25 Ultra. What changed is the frame. The aluminum frame is actually thinner, which makes the bezels appear larger visually, but it's not. Speaker quality has also improved compared to the previous model. It sounds fuller and more refined. Charging is another interesting one. A lot of you asked whether Samsung's existing 65-watt charger works with the S26 Ultra. The answer is yes, it works, but it won't charge at 60 watts. It camps out at 45 watts. To get the full 60-watt wired charging speed, you need Samsung's newer 60-watt charger. According to Samsung, the older 65-watt brick doesn't support the required handshake for the 60-watt charging standard on the phone, so it defaults to 2.0 speeds instead of 3.0. I'll be honest, that's frustrating, especially if, like me, you just bought the 65-watt charger recently. Interestingly, the S26 Ultra actually charges faster than Samsung officially claims. They state 0 to 75% in 30 minutes, but in real testing, it's hitting around 80 to 85% in that same time frame. So they're being conservative here. They did something similar with battery life. The real-world results are better than the marketing suggests. Now about video recording. The S26 Ultra supports APV codec, which is essentially Samsung's equivalent of Apple's ProRes. But if you're wondering how much space it takes, well, roughly 2 gigabytes for a mere 6 seconds clip. So, if you're planning to use it often, you'll want to use an external SSD, otherwise your internal storage will disappear in no time. Again, if you're still considering pre-ordering the S26 Ultra, use my purchase link and get an extra $30 credit. Link is in the description. And if you want my honest thoughts on Samsung downgrading certain aspects of the S26 Ultra, thanks for watching.